All right, guys, let's connect today, March 1st, 2026, coming at you for the live stream to talk about Taylor Sheridan shows, movies, stuff on there too. Today is U.S. Marshals. Sorry, it's just Marshals now. I used to be like Yellowstone Marshals, but I know it's part of the Yellowstone universe, so I just put Yellowstone Marshals. It's on CBS tonight, so I probably won't watch it tonight. I'll probably watch it tomorrow on Paramount Plus is the streaming next day kind of thing. So, hey guys, what's going on? I'm PT, also known as One Eye Bri. You don't know if I'm winking or blinking, but I'm definitely thinking about the Taylor Sheridan universe, different shows and different movies, different everything to talk about there too. Anything Walking Dead related, there's not much news, so there's not much to talk about. That's not till April, so today is March 1st as we're making this live stream, so it'll be tonight is the first episode of the Casey Dutton spinoff, which looks pretty good. I watched the trailer, and I'm excited to see what happens there too. You know, the Taylor Sheridan stuff is pretty good. Not all of the shows. We're going to talk about those things later on. But let me know your thoughts. Post your comments below. And yeah, guys, we're in the live chat. Always welcome to Super Chat, live chat. Welcome that as well. But yeah, anyone watch Survivor on Wednesday, the 50th season of that? I can't believe it was 3 hours, by the way. Like, it was from 8 o'clock to 11. And my wife and I watched about an hour and maybe a half. And I was like, yeah, Survivor's still, I'm probably not going to watch, maybe sporadically here and there, but I'm just kind of over what it was. I just wanted to see who was going to be there. And one of the people on the show was Mike White, who is the writer and director of White Lotus, which was pretty cool, you know. And White Lotus is an okay show. Like, it's nothing great about it, in my opinion. But they were acting like he's this awesome writer and everything. Like, White Lotus has its moments. But we did start Paradise on Hulu. I know Carol, who says hello. Hey, Carol. She, I believe, recommended Paradise a little bit ago. And I didn't really know where to watch it. But it's a Hulu show, so if you have Hulu or Disney Plus with Hulu, I guess, I don't know. But either way, we're watching it, and we're 2 episodes in, and it's interesting. It's an end-of-the-world dystopian kind of craziness, and I definitely like to know where it's going. Every episode, they give you a little bit more. Again, we're only 2 episodes in, so we'll have to see where it is. The main guy, I believe his real name is Sterling K. Brown, and he's charismatic enough to draw you in, and the story draws you in, and what's going on, and what happened, and you know, everything too. So we're, like I said, we're only 2 episodes in. There's the 2nd season, I believe, just started, and yeah, hopefully we'll get it to it. And it's pretty cool. It's a different premise, you know. Like, I don't want to give anything too much away. I want you to watch the show. And Marlon says, have you guys watched The House of the Dragons? And I have not seen any of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. I was waiting on that for it to wrap up the 6 episodes, and now that that's done, but like, here's kind of, it's not a problem, but it's kind of a thing where you have to juggle all these different shows, which is, like, I know, a tough problem, right? But it's something like, okay, I'm probably not going to watch Marshals on Sunday. I'll watch it on Monday on Paramount Plus, because that's when the streaming stuff is the next day. And I got to watch A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. I got to watch The Pit. I didn't have watched any of season 2 of that. And finishing up The Night Agent, which is very good. Night Agent is a good show. And hopefully you guys, have you guys watched Night Agent on Netflix? We're on the last episode, so it's definitely draws you in the same thing every episode. What's happening? A lot of moving pieces, terrorism, this, funding, that. Who can you trust? Who's good? Who's bad? It's like, it's all these crazy things, all these twists and turns, but then it's answered. You know, you don't have to wait time and time and time again. It's pretty good, and especially with Netflix, they post all the episodes, and we watch 1 episode a day. And yeah, that's really what we're watching. How about you guys? What else are you watching? Yeah, Hard Nexie says Seven Kingdoms language was atrocious. It was bad. I mean, I haven't seen it, so I don't know. I can't weigh in on Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, but um, yeah. So Merlin's talking all about Game of Thrones stuff, but you know, it's a good problem to have with watching all these different shows and movies and streaming services of like, what do you watch? You know, and we're also, I forgot to mention last live stream that we're watching a show on Netflix, and it's called The Red Road, and it stars Jason Momoa, and it has two of the people from Dark Winds, you know, Lieutenant Leaphorn and the young rookie guy that was, you know, the newbie for the tribal police. They're both in that show. It's different characters for sure, but it's, you know, a Native American land with this, and it supposedly takes place in New Jersey, but I doubt it's really filmed in New Jersey. I'd have to look up where it's actually filmed. And Jason Momoa is actually kind of like the bad guy in it. And I don't know where the show was. I don't know where it originally was, but it's on Netflix, and it's kind of interesting. It's a different kind of show too, and the lady in Paradise, the woman that is like the mastermind of the area, like I don't want to give too much away, but the one lady that had the family and she had the money and she started up the tech company, she's in Red Road, and it's it's a different character for sure, but it's kind of cool when you start to see different actors in different stuff, especially if it's like older, like especially if the actor is established now and you go back and watch like one of their first roles, you're like, this is cool. It's kind of cool to see where this person has come from. And I have to say, there's always something about different actors that draws you in if you like them, and the same thing if you don't like them too. Like some actors and actresses I don't really like, so I stay away from their stuff. Like I'm starting after The Running Man with Glenn Powell. Like he won me over a little bit with that. It was a little better than I, you know, thought of him, but I haven't seen Twisters, and I'm not going to see probably a lot of his movies, but he's not going to win me over. Like certain people like Jeffrey Dean Morgan and certain people like Norman Reedus, I will watch the movie, Keanu Reeves, I will watch the movie kind of for them because I trust their pick of when they do projects. Like the opposite effect for Johnny Depp, like he used to make like pretty terrible movies, but then a couple of movies were kind of good. And then, like, I'm not a big Pirates of the Caribbean fan or anything like that, but it's just like certain people have a way. Like Leonardo DiCaprio makes pretty good movies as a whole, even though like the one battle after another, that movie sucked. And it stinks because I like Leonardo DiCaprio. I think he's a good actor. I like what he brings to the table. But some of the movies that they pick are like, oh man, is like that a movie based on money or whatever? Or like Inception. Like I don't really care about that movie at all, even though the cast is pretty good. But yeah, so Hard Next, he says Dark Winds good so far, but they kind of hid episode 2. Found a showing time for only 10 weird hours, and then yeah. So I know Dark Winds. I don't know if it's the first 3 seasons are on Netflix. And AMC clearly likes putting their shows on Netflix because I'm sure that's great revenue. We talked about it last live stream about The Walking Dead potentially leaving Netflix, but I'm sure it's going to end up going on another streaming service or just being re-upped on Netflix. Like, personally, I highly doubt that it's going to leave Netflix because it's just their contract is up in January 2027. So that's less than a year away. So stuff runs out. So it's kind of in the news about will it leave Netflix or not. I personally think it'll stay because the big news, hopefully you guys have seen, like hopefully you're a little more interested in companies and investing and everything, because I think it's very important for your financial futures to invest money in companies that you trust, like, use, and are, you know, worth investing in. And so the big deal is, you know, AI stuff and this and whatever, and the tech bubble. But if it's a bubble or not, but is that Netflix and Paramount were building for Warner Brothers, and now Netflix bowed out because they didn't like the offer that Paramount was offering for Warner Brothers, so they were like, no, we're not going to do that. So Paramount is going to buy Warner Brothers. So I don't know what that means for the future of Paramount, HBO Max, the rest of the stuff. I'm hoping that more and more things are going to be bundled together so you get more of a package deal with it, because if you think about it, streaming services besides Netflix are still fairly new, are relatively new, and so they don't know how to figure out what is good for everybody, and now you have to have cable plus streaming services plus the ability to do it. So it's kind of cool to see what eventually could happen, and I don't think all of them are going to be bundled together in one thing because it's separate companies, separate stuff, but after a while, just like everything, stuff gets absorbed and stuff gets brought into it. There's only so many major networks, because if you think about it, ABC is a parent company of Disney, it owns ESPN, which is Hulu, Disney Plus, Marvel, Star Wars, they have all these big, huge parts. That's ABC. Fox is now part of that with their movies and stuff, but also Fox is their own network. They have the NFL, they have FX, FX1, Fox News, they have all these different things. NBC is Peacock, AB is Bravo, is E, has all these major networks on there too. CBS is Paramount, and so there's the big four. And then there's Viacom is a part of this, so MTV is a part of that. So many things are a part of that. And there's only so many things together, so after a while, it kind of gets globbed together for the big four, just like the cell phone companies. The big ones are Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. And there's Mint Mobile and this, and there's the smaller companies, but the big three are what it is. The big manufacturers, the big part of that too. And so I don't know what the future holds for it. I'm not in the know, but it's kind of interesting because Netflix, I guess you could get it bundled with your Verizon network for your Verizon thing, or it's put in certain cable packages or whatever too. I know my dad has Netflix because it's through his cable provider. So it's definitely kind of interesting to see, where the world's going. And I don't know what it is, because I love that Amazon has shows and also their products. You can get stuff there too. And I would love for Walmart and Sam's Club to be a part of Paramount, which would be part of this. And so you would get a connection membership, because if you are a Sam's Club member plus that, so it's kind of draws you in and you get more membership across the board. I don't know if that's where it's going to be, but it's just something down the road that hopefully gets there, because it's so expensive right now too. Life is just getting more and more and more and more and more expensive. And I'm hopefully going to be able to retire very soon is my goal, but I don't really know, because I don't really know if that's going to be plausible and feasible, because I feel once I stop working, I'm going to be done with a job like that, even though I'm going to be on YouTube, I'm going to be writing books, I'm going to be doing all these things. I'm still going to do that probably for many more years. I'd say forever, but, I don't know about that. But then it's something I have to keep busy. And now that you have all these different streaming services, I don't know if to keep up with that, to say this, plus groceries, plus a gym membership, plus car insurance, plus this, plus that. A lot of pluses on there too. So, but either way, today is March 1st. It's a big day for the Taylor Sheridan Universe, because it's the first spin-off after Yellowstone. And so Yellowstone was a huge show, and if you haven't seen Yellowstone, I highly recommend it, because it's such a good thing. I was watching a clip of it on YouTube or something, and Rip is so good, because these people come up to try to strong arm John Dutton, And he's like, who's looking for John Dutton? It doesn't matter anything like that, too. You're going to do this. And so he starts fighting these people, and the guy takes out a gun, and he's like, doesn't mess around. And then John Dutton comes out of nowhere on a horse and takes out the guy. Like, it's just so Western, heroic, cowboy country. Like, it's just got its way about it, too. And I hope Marshals is the same way. And Marshals just has that feel of Taylor Sheridan bottled up and put on television in another show. Because Casey Dutton is the son of John Dutton, that is the connection with Yellowstone, plus the other people that are going to come around. You know, just like the Native Americans, just like this, just like however it can be. Will we see Beth? Will we see Rip? Will we see certain people? I don't know. They have their own show eventually on there too. But the future is bright for that, and I'm excited to see where it's going to go, because I really do like the Taylor Sheridan universe, and if you haven't really started it, it's kind of, if you're into it, not everyone's into it on there as well, and I want to see what's going to happen, because I talked about it last stream about Taylor Sheridan leaving Paramount, but that's not for a little while. That's not anytime soon. He's got to finish up his shows, his commitments to go on there too, and then I wonder what's going to happen. Can he just start up a spin-off show that's connected with that, or does he have to start fresh with stuff on NBC? And I believe it's NBC. I could be wrong. That's where he ends up leaving in a couple years. But I just know that if they can continue on with stuff, that is what we kind of want now. I think, just like The Walking Dead, we were wanting a universe feel. And to be honest, I feel like they did a really crappy job of it. It's not that hard, and the same thing with like Star Wars and certain things. Like, it's not that hard to have a plan to have this thing, but when you write something, you can, and in Yellowstone, it's pretty simple, right? It's like a huge acreage of land, a ranch set in Montana, and who's trying to come in? The Native Americans want their land. They say it's theirs. They say it's this. The developers are trying to come in. They're trying to do this. They're trying to do that. The, different, biker gang problems, cartel problems, drug problems, this problems, whatever it could. There's so many other problems that have come around on there too. Political problems, different stuff getting put into the fold. Environmental problems, whatever, right? And now with Casey's show, I'm guessing that his wife is killed or dies, but I'm guessing killed, because why would he join the U.S. Marshals? Just to join them? I mean, I know his background is in the military and it's this, and he's a badass and he can handle himself and he needs help and whatever is how they're portraying it. But are they going after someone that... What is he doing it for? I'm guessing he's going after the people that killed his wife, is what I'm guessing was what happened. That's the easy way to write it. His son's still alive, obviously, in the trailer, but we don't see his wife at all. And so that's going to unfold a whole other thing, a whole other story, take him down these paths on there too. And Casey really isn't in the show much in Yellowstone, very much in my opinion, especially towards the end. He has a little story arc here and there, but it's more of a way with his wife and what he's trying to figure out. And he steps up for the family when he needs to. But now this is going to be solely his show, and it's going to be connected with U.S. Marshals, and it's going to have that military, Montana wilderness, Wild West, drug cartel feel going around, I'm guessing. And I think it's going to work. I have big hopes for it. I hope that, I like that he's little callbacks and connections. And that's what we always want. If you watch something with, say, Star Wars or Star Trek or Marvel or whatever, or any huge, or Walking Dead even, huge things that were universes, that were multi-layered, multifaceted things that were connecting, world building, universe building on there too. So it's pretty cool to see how this is just going to expand that. And you can't go wrong. Like, there's certain things now, especially in shows, that are going to be around forever. Medical shows, law shows, firemen, police, fireman type of shows, rescue type of shows. Westerns have been around forever, and this is like the modern day Western. Taylor Sheridan is playing with major things, and I don't know where he gets inspiration for in writing, but I'm guessing, just like all writers, write what they know about, what they like, what they, care about. And for him, it's Texas, Montana, the West, oil, big business, problems that are environmental for that area, for the West, for Montana, Wyoming, Utah, Texas, whatever. And I don't know anything about that besides what I see on Yellowstone, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to Montana, Wyoming. They may have for a long time now, but they're having a lot of things with that universe in that area because they want to see it. They want to see the mountains. They want to see the last best place in the United States. And it's kind of beautiful, and I'm one of those people too. I eventually want to get out there to see what it's like, and I maybe even try horseback riding. I haven't been horseback riding in a long time. My butt will probably be, raw if that happens because it's kind of crazy because of that horseback ride. Hopefully they have better saddles and everything coming out for you. But that's romanticized, so people go there for it too. And Yellowstone was a huge show. And this is the first show after the show. Yes, there are prequel series. There's 1883, 1923, soon to be 1944. Those are going to be the three prequel series. Yellowstone, and the Marshals, Dutton Ranch, and whatever they're going to do there too. Are they going to have 4/6s? Is that going to be something that Taylor Sheridan's going to save for NBC? The 4/6s ranch show that takes place in Texas, and which I believe he owns the 4/6s ranch, is what I was reading about and coming across there too. And so, what's your favorite Taylor Sheridan show? Is it Yellowstone? Is it Tulsa King? Lioness? Mayor of Kingstown? Like Landman? Or what's your favorite show? Because I think it's hard to say, and now the latest thing with Nola King, which was Samuel L. Jackson's spin-off show, is called Frisco King, which is in Texas, in Frisco, Texas, I think. I don't know exactly where it is, but I really hope they change Samuel L. Jackson's accent, because that was really bad in Tulsa King in the latest season, in those episodes where Samuel L. Jackson shows up, because it was definitely not all right. It was definitely forced, and it just didn't sound good too. So Yellowstone isn't across the pond? You can't see Yellowstone in Europe? Man, it's a different world. If I don't know anything about outside the United States, like what it's like, which shows, where do you watch, where do you do this on there too. And the first time I ever really thought about that was with The Walking Dead, because The Walking Dead was an AMC show. But in South America, it's not on that network. It was on another network, I believe. Or in Europe, it was a different network. In Australia, I don't even know exactly where it was. It was just kind of crazy to think about that. And it's definitely something that all I know is that I'm in the United States and we have our different shows. And I mean, they have different stuff on streaming services. Can you not watch it on any of the streaming services? Like, I know Yellowstone was on Peacock, I want to say. I don't know where you watch it now, but they have stuff blocked or not across that way. But pretty interesting if that's the case. Yeah, well, I don't know. What is big over there, Merlin? So, I mean, it's March 1st as we do the live stream, and I'm kind of excited for certain months, especially to get out of these months and get closer to certain months. March, I mean, March and April are really the first 4 months are really like, ugh. When we get to May, I think May is one of the better months in my opinion, especially if my anniversary's in May and try to go on vacations and try to do a lot then. And then the summer is like so hot and it's hurricane season, so you got to worry about that in Florida. From June 1st to December 1st is hurricane season, so you have to worry about those months for hurricanes. You really got to worry about it in August, September, October, maybe a little November, but August, September, October typically for hurricanes in Florida. And I'm doing some yard work, getting the yard ready because it's been warming up. Hopefully you guys are staying warm. I don't know what it's been in the Northeast. I know the weather that was there was all the snowstorms and the inches or feet of snow that you were getting. It was probably cold, and it's definitely something that it probably can't come soon enough for everybody to warm up a little bit. But I'm liking when it's cooler, like I don't have to run the heat or run the air conditioning, and in Florida it's kind of getting that way, especially in my house. It keeps it cold, because if it's cold it takes a little while to heat up, but then once it's warm, and then you got to run the air conditioning, then you got to run the AC, and then you got to run, or the bills go up, and the energy bills go up, and you got to save a little money where you can on there too. So, but how about you guys? What do you guys got going on this year? Any trips or anything looking forward to? Because again, I always want to look forward to something, and even if it's a show or a reunion or a thing or whatever on there as well, So everyone there is talking about House of the Dragon and A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. That's it? 2 shows? Well, there's a lot of other stuff on television and everything going on too, and more stuff. Before you know it, The Boys' final season will be on, and yeah, I mean, it's kind of a cool thing to see the different shows and things in production. So I also shared the first look of Ryan Hurst, Beta, who plays Kratos. And if you watch The Night Agent, season 3, there's a boy for a character that's involved in the show, and the young boy is actually Atreus in God of War. And so I like the video games, all the different God of War games, but I personally like the Greek mythology more than the Norse mythology, and that's what they're going with too. And so, the first look of Ryan Hurst as Kratos isn't terrible. It's not bad, but it's something that he's got to get bigger, more muscular, so digitally enhances muscles or something, I'm guessing, and so hopefully it's pretty good. I believe it's an Amazon Prime show, so I know they have the budget and the ability to make a good show, and hopefully they put the right stuff behind it. But the castings of all the different characters, we'll have to see how it plays out, how many seasons the show's going to be, and what they're going to do. But it's kind of cool that more and more stuff is coming to production with pop culture stuff, and the Marvel stuff is really our big reason for all this too, especially for The Walking Dead. If the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is comic books, wasn't so big, I don't think The Walking Dead gets made, because everybody was trying their hand to get a taste of comic book stuff, and they tried to do stuff back in the 90s and early 2000s, and some of the things were pretty bad. Like if you go watch Spawn, it's not a bad movie, but the CGI is terrible, a certain thing is, and so much better now too. And I believe they've been trying to work on a Spawn movie with different people, and it's just not something that has really been in production. But I think now's the time, because CGI is so much better, and Spawn can be made in a way that just works too. So Hard Nixie says, trip to Texas with family, June, July, granddaughter wedding in September, 4th of July suggestions. So are you going to Texas in July? Is that where you're going to be? Is that do you want suggestions for 4th of July in general or just for Texas 4th of July? Because it depends on where you go, obviously, in Texas. I've only been to really 2 places, and they were kind of short little trips in Texas, but depends what you want to do. You know, 4th of July is one of those where it's the middle of the summer, and I'm not trying to do nothing with groups and crowds of people. Like, I don't think you can go wrong with certain spots like Gatlinburg, Tennessee, or, you know, over there, but it's going to be crazy packed, especially in the summer, and everyone's going to be with, you know, the different aspect of, you know, travel. And the summer, I'm sure everyone's going to be going all over the place too. So Carol asks, where are you with completion of your book? So I am on chapter 6, I believe. I was writing stuff the other day, and it's definitely coming together. I have an idea for another book that has nothing to do with Fight for Us, but I definitely want to have to get some more writing in there too. So my goal is probably this summer to get the next book out, and I'm excited for it because I am really excited to see, because I'm building up for this big thing that I don't want to give too much away, but when I'm writing, there's like moments that I want to hit, and I'm like, what about this? What about that? Oh, I got to start this. What about this? What about that? You know, and I love the idea of getting there and then connecting the dots and then the payoff of stuff. So I have this idea for a book that will connect the dots of where stuff's at. And there's little teasers in chapters and even in the last book that I'm going to pay off, because I want the payoff to be good for people who who read and enjoy. And the writing is something that I'm still enjoying so far. And it's tough because I'm trying to get the ability of the characters to get to a certain point, and then some big stuff has to happen, obviously, because if people are just living, it's kind of like The Walking Dead, right? Like, everybody wants a 12th season of The Walking Dead. But why? What would the 12th season of The Walking Dead bring to the table? Who's the You know, by that time, The Walking Dead seasons, the zombie apocalypse would be going on for 10 plus years. There would be so much, I don't know. It's just kind of crazy. But there has to be a problem to solve in there too, and in Fight for Us and Fight for Us 2, there's definitely problems to be having, especially with Ryan and Leon Lacey and that whole group, and the whole thing that was kind of brought up last book. And so we're building up to a big showdown coming up, especially in this book too. So it'll be pretty cool to think about. Hard and Nixie says Route 66 anniversary is this year. So I know that the big thing, because it's also the huge anniversary of our country's, I guess, birth of the United States, because it's 1776 and this is 2026, so that's 250 years of that. So I know they were talking about having the national parks be like free or something or whatever on there too, and I'm sure like everybody's going to do that, but there's got to be a lot of cool things going around, especially around 4th of July for that 250th anniversary of our country, which I'm hoping they do something really amazing for it, because it's a big celebration. You know, it's a big deal.
And I'm from the southern New Jersey, and Philadelphia is, a big thing. So hopefully they do something really big in July for it, because that's the first capital of the United States and the first area of the United States, and the birth of everything coming together to start up the country is, Philadelphia, New York, that area on there too, especially. So I don't know. I don't really go to our national parks, but I just know there was some kind of big deal with that this year too for national parks. So I don't know. Our Nixie says there will be celebration in Springfield, Missouri, where it gets named. Oh, okay, nice. So I know that just looking forward to stuff, and it's March 1st as we do the live stream. But before you know it, it'll be 4th of July. In 4 months, it'll be this half of this year is gone. And so many times the years go by, days go by. As we're talking, 35 minutes of our life has gone by in this live stream. And next thing you know, it's, so many years have gone by, and you got to enjoy it and live it up and do all the things that you want to have, And that's why I'm trying to retire earlier than 65, because it's crazy that that's when people retire, is when they're in their 60s. And they have to do it for money and paying stuff off and benefits and insurance and everything. I get it. But to be semi-retired or something on there too, if it's something I can do, I'm going to strive to do that, because like I talked about it last time, my dad is 76 years old, and he's going to be, 77 later this year, with a knee replacement coming up very fast, and I want to make sure that he's going to do good for the next, however long he's got, 10 plus years, hopefully, I never know, you never know. And more people are, especially this year alone, it feels like a lot of celebrities on there too. So an interesting thing I saw, it was Robert Carradine. He passed away this week, and he is mostly known for Revenge of the Nerds. He's that lead nerd with the glasses and just the main focus on him. So he's actually the brother, I want to say, of Keith Carradine and David Carradine. So David Carradine, you would know him from Kung Fu and Kill Bill and other stuff, but those mostly you know him for. But Keith Carradine, you may not know him from anything besides Fear the Walking Dead. And he has a daughter. I don't know if he has more than one kid, but his one daughter is Martha Plimpton, who she was in Goonies and Raising Hope. And the latest one was Task. She was one of the FBI people in Task. And that's kind of a cool little family that is in pretty big actors. From David to Robert to Keith to Martha. That family is pretty cool too. So yeah, I never saw Deadwood. But when I think of that family, I think of those people. And Keith was pretty cool, even in Fear the Walking Dead. With that nonsense writing of Fear the Walking Dead, John Dory, and certain the Dorys were they were pretty good. The other thing that I forgot to bring up last live stream is there's a 1-season show called Four Seasons, or The Four Seasons, and it's on Netflix. And my wife and I watched it. It's 8 episodes, and I think that's all there is, especially right now. But it stars Steve Carell, Tina Fey, Will Arnett, and Colman Domingo. And Colman Domingo is actually really good in the series. He's pretty funny. And it's a dynamic of they've been friends, and it's pretty interesting of of a show. And again, it's only 8 episodes. And if you like Steve Carell and Tina Fey and Will Arnett, it's pretty cool. It's worth watching. Call it 4 seasons on Netflix. But again, we're finishing up The Night Agent. I talked about it before. The Red Road was a show on, I don't know where it was initially, but it's an older show. It's like younger Jason Momoa. And I don't know the actor's name, but he's the guy from Dark Winds, Leghorn, and we're only on the first season, a couple episodes into it, and it's okay. It draws you in a little bit to keep you watching. Paradise. What else are we watching? We finished that documentary movie. Well, I guess it's like a series. I guess it was like a 4-part documentary about selling Superman. And the guy was selling his comic books that his dad bought when he was younger. And he's got a huge collection that he's been selling. And, the guy regrets doing the documentary and all these other things. And, it was a whole big thing. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, if you didn't want to do the story, then you didn't have to do the story. But it's a pretty cool story. Like imagine if you were parent or grandparent or aunt or uncle, whoever, had a huge collection of something, especially comic books. So a lot of things back in the day are not worth anything. If you had certain, Furbies or, Cabbage Patch Kids or certain, I don't know, whatever. Not everything is worth money. Or Beanie Babies or whatever. These are going to be worth so much money. But comic books, especially comic books that were in the 60s or 50s, 60s, 70s, whatever, And you're buying Superman comics, the original Superman comics, and you're buying, so many different copies of it, and you have, I don't even know, thousands of books, and the whole collection is probably worth $15 million. That's pretty crazy. That's a pretty crazy story, and it's something that you don't have to talk about, but everybody, we talked about it last time, that, imagine you go into the attic of your childhood home, and there's a box there, and you open it, and it's full of something like comic books. What do you do with it? Right? You probably get them looked at to see if there's any value. You see if you got to grade them. And then, do you try to make money off of it, or do you keep it? Now, there's some things that are sentimental, and some things that are worth money that you don't want to sell, and some things that are not worth money that you probably won't sell either. So it's definitely something that comics are one of those things that draw your attention in, or books or whatever on there too, and something that has value. And especially nowadays, I talked about it before in the stream, that times are tough. People need money. You can cut back, and you can cut things down, and you can live, frugally, but you have to pay your bills. You got to pay your water bill, your electric bill, your cable bill, your insurance, your mortgage, your rent, your whatever, your cell phone bill, your medical bills, your credit cards. You have stuff to pay for. Whether you like it or not, there's stuff you have to pay for. And even if it's costs you, $2,000 a month, for 12 months is $24,000. That's not a lot of money, but it is a lot of money too, So you got to cut things down, cut things on there as well. And so, I don't have that. My dad doesn't have a collection of stuff of, we had some trading cards that he sold during COVID, pretty cool. And now it helped me put some money in investments. That's why I talked about it before, investing and stuff. And I don't think he's in here today, but we have a guy that, recommended, Pepsi. And I think Pepsi stock is a great stock. It's much higher now. I think it's at a 52-week high, so it's always tough when you buy it. But I like that stuff. You know, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, certain things are better stocks that I actually use. Some stocks are better for dividends because I'm a dividend stock guy. But investing in that. And I always like to think about life as like a couple different areas, right? You got to have your artistic side, whether you like to sing, dance, draw, create, write, watch movies, create movies, watch documentaries, what it shows, whatever it is, right? That side. Then you have to have your money-making side, your job, where you got to do something. And hopefully you can put two and two together where you enjoy your job while everything you do. But I think that's rare. You know, I think it's getting worse out there in the field, and jobs are getting tougher, and jobs are, you know, getting harder for people, and they're expecting more out of us, and the productivity and the efficiency and the standards are getting ridiculous. And it's just, I don't know, it's just kind of crazy. And it's tough because you can get fired at any second. They can let you go, and then what do? Hopefully you have enough skills or training or education to go get another job. And I'm a physical therapist, so I'm kind of in a niche area that can work in hospital, outpatient clinic, skilled nursing facility, home health. There's different areas and avenues to work, different states, different, you know, jobs. And which is great, but it's something that is just, it's tough. It's a tough career. It weighs you down. Burnout is real. Burnout is a real thing. And, you know, I always go back to Robert Kirkman when he was writing The Walking Dead. He said in one of the Walker Stalker panels where he was interviewed that he was maxing out his credit cards, and he was delivering pizzas, and he was like doing all this stuff to make ends meet. And then luckily he had a great experience and a life-changing moment where he got The Walking Dead comic published. And the rest is history for him. You know, hopefully the dude's making multi-millions doing things here, and he's got other shows and, you know, other stuff like that and other areas and everything. And so it's crazy. And Taylor Sheridan's kind of the same way. I don't know his financial way when he was making and writing, but the first thing I ever seen him in, and really one of the only things besides his own shows now that I seen him in, was Sons of Anarchy. And from what I've read, that and what I've seen is that that's where he really started his acting thing, and he didn't want to be a secondary low-level actor, that it's got to be tough. So he started writing and being involved with that aspect. And if you create something, it's yours, right? If you make something, it's yours. If you write something, it's yours. And that's pretty awesome. You know, like, I know that the record labels and artists making music for a long time would just not make a lot of money because the artists were part of the label, and the label would get most of the money. And I remember a story, I don't know if it was one of those like behind the musics or whatever, and it was TLC. And TLC was a huge group in the 90s. And they had the number one album, CD, whatever, in the world, probably the United States, but the world at the time or something, whatever the, you know, keep tracks of, whoever was keeping track of the numbers. But they were the number one artist, and they were barely making money because the label made money, the producers made money, the writers made money. They were all, if you got $1 million, you got to split it 10 ways. So now that $1 million is far less. And you do it time and time and time and time again, you're not making a lot of money. That's why the artists were going on tour, because they made the majority of that money for themselves. And then more and more artists came out, and then they would have their own label, or they would make their own stuff, or they have better deals. And you got to own your stuff. You have to own your rights. You have to own where it is, because that's where it is. Ownership is. And when you get to see, especially even in the Walking Dead universe now, when you see Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Lauren Cohan and Norman Reedus and Melissa McBride and Andrew Lincoln and Denai Guerrera, they are stars of these shows, and they are actors. But pretty much all of them now in these spin-off shows were executive producers, because they're going to get paid as an actor, and they're going to get paid as an executive producer, I believe. So if you can get many different areas, like Sylvester Stallone was Rocky Balboa, but he was the writer. He, in a couple of his movies, maybe even The Expendables and all that stuff, he stars in it, he writes it, he directs it, he produces it. Like he's so many different things. So you're getting connected in all those different avenues to own those things and those abilities and getting paid so many times. You're probably part of different guilds and different associations and different things, which is crazy, right? And the big thing is that's where you do it. Like the other thing is owning a part of whatever it is, to have a production company, to have the bigger thing. That's the real money. That's the real avenue. Like being one part of it now is almost not a waste, but very low level compared to what a lot of these people are doing. You know, like to have a production company for some of them is pretty awesome. So when you see that, like Mark Wahlberg has a production company and he stars and stuff and he acts and he probably writes and I don't know, whatever he does too. You know, it's like so many different things. And it's pretty cool to see that time and time again. And when you have that, like especially with the different shows, when it comes up and it says like, you know, like I remember like Mark Wahlberg's one was closest to the hole or something, or The Rock's was $7, because the big story about The Rock is when he, you know, came to Pennsylvania or something, he left Florida and moved there, whatever it was, he came to Pennsylvania with his family and he's trying to make it, he only had $7 or something like that too, is the whole thing. And so the $7 is the big, you know, aspect of his life, and so it makes sense. And no one's going to have that name of $7 production company or closest to the hole or whatever it is. And so, or like Happy Madison is Billy Madison's, or Billy Madison is Adam Sandler's, because the two biggest movies that made him a lot of money, that really started his acting career outside of Saturday Night Live, was Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore. And so he combined the two, and he has Happy Madison Productions. And so when you get to see that, that's his production company, and he has a huge, great contract deal with Netflix. And, you know, it's kind of crazy to think about where people are. And, you know, there's people that are talented. There's people that are extremely talented that can do things that we don't even think about. But hard work, dedication, learning, and now that YouTube, you can learn anything on YouTube. You could do any of those things to a certain degree, right? But you have to do it. You have to be motivated to do it too. You know, like there's so many different channels and groups. Like it's so funny. Like, and when I work in the outpatient clinic, I always ask my patients, "How you doing? What's going on? You know, what'd you have for breakfast? What shows are you watching? Any shows or movies or anything you recommend?" And a lot of people watch YouTube, and they're like 70 plus years old. One, because it's free. YouTube costs nothing. And I'm like, what do you watch on there? He's like, house shows or shopping or this or whatever. Do you watch anything in specific? No. Oh, I watch this, or I watch that. And the big thing is YouTube is a very powerful source. It's a powerful connection to get out there too. And you can learn how to do something, right? Like I'm trying to get ideas for my lawn and my, you know, my landscaping and whatever. And you could hire someone, and that's an easy way to do it, but try to get some ideas, DIY, hacks, whatever it is, try to life hacks or whatever they call them. And you're trying to figure out something that works for me. And I used to love HGTV. When I first bought my house, you know, like so many years ago, I used to watch HGTV all the time. And those people would have like flipping houses and doing this and renovations and recommending products and, you know, doing whatever. And there was this one show where this guy would go to like Home Depot or Lowe's, and he would go around and he would talk with people, and he would say, what are you doing? We're renovating a bathroom, or we're doing something on there too. And he's like, can I go home with you? And like, what? What are you talking about? That's weird. And some people would be like, no, 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 no. And then some people would be like, well, are you a contractor or what's going on? And they would say, yeah. So the deal is, if you let me go home with you right now, no questions asked, I can, work on something in your house. And he would go to their house and see what they were working on. And some people would just let him in the house and do this. And he has a camera crew, and he was a licensed contractor and a construction person. But he would go there, do that, and they would do the renovation in the weekend, whether it was the backyard or a bathroom or whatever. And they would have a team of people. And he was like, your job is for you two to wake up very early, call your friends, call your family, call everybody out to help out. More the merrier. Neighbors and whatever would come in, and they would work on a project. And I forget what it was called. But the show was crazy, and it was cool. And I never saw anything like that before. But you would learn kind of some ideas of what to do. And there was another kind of, I don't know if it was a show or like a segment. It was called like 10 grand in your hand. And the guy would show you like some things to do where you could save money. Whether it was like demolition or certain things that you would save about 10 grand worth of work for you, and it was kind of cool. But you learned, and that's what I always like to have too. So, Hard Nixie says, hubby watches repair on YouTube, same as on TV on Sundays, car, house. Exactly. So you can learn certain things, especially if you have to troubleshoot something like your lawnmower won't start, or the power washer handle is loose or something. How do I go to fix that too, And you can learn from it. And I remember when I bought my house, I didn't know anything about anything. I had a condo in South Florida, and I tried to put in like a towel rack and change out outlets and paint and whatever on there, two little things like that. But I wasn't good at them, and I'm still not the best at it. But you can learn or whatever. It's kind of a skill, right? It's like riding a bike. If you want to get better at it, you have to do it. Just like anything. If you want to get better balance, you got to work on your balance. You want to get better at a topic or subject, you got to read it, go over it, learn it, and make a neural pathway in your brain and have the thing where it becomes concrete into your head and it sticks with you on there too. So, but ultimately, guys, today is March 1st. I never said the date so much in my life, but today is March 1st, and we have Marshals. The first episode airs today. In 2 weeks, on March 14th, the Madison comes on, and that's another Taylor Sheridan show. So the March Madness is coming up too. In 2 weeks, it'll be Selection Sunday, and then the basketball will be taken over, and it'll be awesome. I love March Madness. I love college basketball. It's one of the best tournaments in the world, I believe, in my opinion. But ultimately, guys, the Madison is a story about a different family that is moved from New York to Montana, and I don't think has really any connections with Yellowstone besides being in Montana, but you never know what's going to happen, and I'm not sure about that show. It's really focusing on Michelle Pfeiffer in the trailer, which is fine. I like Michelle Pfeiffer, but Kurt Russell is her husband, I believe, and I don't really see him much in the trailer, and my wife seems to think that Kurt Russell may die in there, which I think would suck, because I hope he's a big part of the show. I like Kurt Russell, and I like, Michelle Pfeiffer, but I don't want to see the show just I hope it's like an inspirational, good topic show, and I don't know if it's going to be one and done season or what it's going to be, but hopefully the writing is good and it can continue on with stuff. And, anytime a Taylor Sheridan show set in Montana is there, we ultimately think, Yellowstone. But I think Taylor Sheridan's trying to break that mold a little bit. But I think the biggest thing is, if it's entertaining or not, too. And I think it's an easy, way. It doesn't have to connect. It doesn't have to have Yellowstone connections, because Taylor Sheridan has wrote enough shows that have nothing to do with Yellowstone. Like Yellowstone, 1883, 1923. Okay, boom. That's its own little world. Marshals, that connects. Good. But you have Landman and Tulsa King and, Mayor of Kingstown. And I don't really like Lioness, but that's another show. And there's a couple other, things. I think it was like Lawman, something, but it was okay. It wasn't that great. But certain things are, other movies. I never saw, I believe Wind River was his movie too, and I haven't seen that. That stars Jeremy Renner
and the Olsen, I forget her, the Olsen girl. But I haven't seen that movie, but you never know. Hopefully I'll check it out and be pretty good too. So Tim says he read that it was CBS that dropped the Y. So yeah, I guess it's just Marshals. It's not Yellowstone Marshals. It's just Marshals. But there you go, guys. That's my time. The hour goes flying by, especially when you're having fun. I'll be back next Sunday to talk about Marshals, the first episode. Probably watch Paradise a little bit more. So Paradise on Hulu is definitely worth watching. It's definitely a good show. I only watched, 2 episodes of it, but it's worth watching. The Night Agent on Netflix is definitely, it's, now in its 3rd season. Hopefully you're watching that. And also 4 seasons. It's definitely something worth to watch on Netflix as well. All right, guys, let me know your thoughts. Post your comments below. Are you watching Marshals tonight? Are you excited for it? I'll be back next Sunday to talk about it. And remember, guys, with hard work, dedication, belief, and sacrifice, you can truly achieve your goals. Keep working hard at it. No matter what it is, you can do it. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you next week. See ya!